Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first ever episode of the VAR Room. We'll be going through our segment of Offside and Onside, where we will be bringing forward the most controversial takes in world football. We'll be talking about Morocco and Senegal, the whole situation in CAF. We have these in front of us. We're going to be presenting football decisions over the last few months. If the referee made the right call, they'll get a nice little green flag. They'll get some white flags in there. It'll be an onside decision. But we know referees. They're nowhere near perfect, as we saw in the AFC Asian Women's Cup last night.
Yes, we did see live.
Absolutely disgusting referee.
I don't know what happened.
Wow.
Gotta keep up with women.
You just got us cancelled.
Yeah.
Anyway, as we saw in the Women's AFC Asian Cup last night, some terrible refereeing as Australia were bowed out to Japan 1-0. But the referees with poor decisions will get a big offside. It's not just referees, it's regulators. It's opinions. In onside, offside, nothing is out of bounds. We can talk about opinions, we can talk about refereeing decisions, we can talk about confederation decisions.
Apparently conspiracy theories.
It's all up to play, but all we know going into it is that Atletico Oilers pitch.
That's the craziest theory.
I've never heard something so wild.
Oil
take
I'm
out
telling
of
you, bro.
Dead pitch.
I'm telling you, bro. I didn't believe it until I saw Jean
They
Garcia.
come out there and fucking.
I'm
That's
telling
crazy.
you. They get a hose?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, bro.
It's just water, lads. Don't worry.
I'm telling you, bro.
Thick water coming out.
I didn't believe it until I saw Jean Garcia do the same thing that Kinski did.
Yeah.
And then Van de Ven did the same thing.
It's
I'm
almost
telling
like wet fields, you know.
you. It wasn't raining! It wasn't raining! That's what I mean!
It's always like football fields are
It wasn't raining!
Players slip
One
all the
time. Yeah, one time, yes. Three times? Three!
Yeah, okay.
3 goals from slips!
The first one fucked up the pitch.
He slips in a completely other spot!
What, the pitch
One's like
this.
this!
Training.
Telling you, the oil. It'll come out in 20 years. Okay, and yous will thank me. Alright, we're going to start off with those who watched Liverpool versus Tottenham. Virgil van Dijk took down Richarlison. I'm going to stop myself being biased here. Virgil van Dijk and Richarlison had an incident. The referee decided no penalty. VAR checked it for about 3 seconds, decided no penalty. And lads, in 3, 2, 1... Offside. Wow. The Liverpool fan agrees with me.
Yeah.
Alright.
You think it was
Who wants to start off?
I'll start off because
Yeah.
I'm a Liverpool fan. Look, any tackle, any challenge where you're restricting a player's what's it called? Center of gravity by pushing down at a pressure point to where he can't do anything on the whole right side of his body. I don't care. It's a foul. It's unfortunate because it would have given up a pen for us. I'm glad they didn't call
Probably
it.
would have been a red card.
Oh, red
It's a
card
goal-scoring
definitely as
opportunity.
well.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful in that case that it wasn't given. But if I'm looking at it from an unbiased opinion, it's definitely a foul. If it happened to one of our players, I wouldn't have. I would have gone off. So I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, it's okay because it happened and you didn't get a call on. So.
No, I respect that. I know I'm a Spurs fan, so there's some bias there. But I think even looking at it, for me, there's one side of it where you look at just as isolated as a foul. Fine, you can. To be honest, I think there is a conversation there. If you look at it as an isolated incident, is it a foul or not? To be honest, I don't know. I think that is subjective.
Anywhere else on the pitch, I feel like it wouldn't be given.
I disagree.
Really?
I think anywhere else on the pitch, it's guaranteed to be. But in the box, you take that into consideration. My point is you don't take it in isolation. You take it in the context of every single other decision we've seen in the 3 weeks prior to that or across the season and the 2 weeks since. We've seen Bournemouth United, a player got a red card and sent off for the exact same thing. Van de Ven 1 week before for taking Ismail Assar down, which I think was even less of a foul. It was still a foul, still a red card guaranteed, but it was... Side didn't have possession of the ball. Yeah. So it wasn't an actual goal-scoring opportunity yet. So you had those incidents just before and after. You had Lacroix against United as well, got sent off for the same thing. So I think when you put all that into perspective, the only foul I've seen where it was that same incident that didn't actually get given was the Van Dijk. And to me, that means the referee's got it wrong. And it should have been. And it's unfortunate for us because it really would have changed the game. We were in a really good spot. Yeah. Liverpool down to 10 men. We could have definitely got 3 points there. And it could have been relegation saving. So look, it's disappointing. I do think across the season, these decisions come and go, so they are what they are. But as a sole incident, I say definitely refs got it wrong there. Now, Mr. thinks the refs got it right here.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
sure.
That is never a foul in history. I've never seen anything so that's clean as I've ever seen in my life. Okay, there was nothing wrong with that tackle. Richarlison's a bitch. Okay, look at arm love,
Brother, I can't believe
Relax,
he's actually
bro.
saying that is just
Relax.
every incident gets given, and I feel like if you put anyone else in that, it's given as a foul. I'm not saying as a thing against Tottenham. I think there is a massive refereeing crisis in the league about reputation of players. I think that plays a massive part in if fouls getting given or not, and how severe they're seen as.
Yes.
And I think that needs to change in the league. There needs to be just accountability. Referees aren't given any accountability in the league.
Fact.
Even when they make a mistake, doesn't
Yes.
matter. They just go on to the next.
Sorry,
game.
we made the
Yes,
we made the wrong
100%.
call.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get
Now-
referees do make mistakes, but some accountability. If a player makes a mistake, the manager's not going to just allow it.
They get dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, something has to happen.
100%.
I agree entirely there. I think the Premier League's refereeing quality is just... We've seen it for years.
Abysmal.
3
Yeah.
years since the Liverpool Spurs game where they messed up with the VAR. And not a single person was up. I'm a Spurs fan. I was cheering that we had that with us.
Yeah.
But that was such a disgusting decision where a player is clearly onside. And that's probably one of, if not the worst incidents of VAR we've seen in the history of VAR. Next up on onside, offside. We've all seen what happened with CAF.
Yeah.
Last week they decided to strip Senegal of the AFCON of 2026. Onside, offside. Was that the right call? Was that the wrong call? In 3, 2, 1. We're in agreement there.
controversy.
I think there was none there.
Disgusting decision. Yeah.
Who wants to start us off here?
I'll take it off.
Yeah.
It's a disgusting decision to make. Regardless of what decisions are made on the field, I get the final was very messy. Senegal shouldn't have walked off. The decision prior was a dodgy decision as well.
It was a terrible decision. That penalty, that penalty was probably one of the least penalties I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like dodgy decision to even have that as a decision.
It's why Senegal walked off, because it was so bad.
Exactly. So everything about that game was just shit out. So the fact that it ended, they came to a decision, Senegal won, just leave it at that. We can look at that final and just be like, it was chaotic, it was crazy, blah, blah, blah. But you do not, under any circumstance, unless it's a blatant...
Unless they had
blatant
broadcast fails
alteration,
or something like
a
that.
blatant alteration to the game,
Financial,
anything like that, betting. Then okay, cool. Then we can revisit it. But if it's nothing to that degree, you can't change it, especially for a major tournament final.
Yeah, final as well.
That causes so much more chaos than a club being stripped of anything. When it comes to nations, when it comes to AFCON and being African, I understand the pride a lot of Africans have with football and their teams. You can't do that. Senegal had a great team. They got to the final, got their second AFCON, and then for that to be stripped away from them, it just causes way too much chaos. It causes a lot of disorganization across CAF, and it shows how unprofessional this tournament is towards so many people. When there's already been so much shit talked about the tournament.
I was about to say the exact same thing.
It just shows people.
There's so much talk about AFCON being this, this corrupt tournament with controversy and decisions that no one knows what's going on is almost the perception that there is of AFCON. And I think it is probably one of my favorite tournaments to watch because it is beautiful to watch. It is passion. It is it's what football is. It's the actual love of the game, and I think that's one of the best things about AFCON. And when that penalty decision was announced, as in literally the referee blew the whistle, one of my friends messaged me straight away saying, CAF want Morocco to win this because there is no way in a million years any other referee calls that a penalty. So to then have that incident happen, penalty gets saved, somehow Senegal end up winning through their own heart determination, and then now to strip it makes it look so much more corrupt. It almost guarantees that it is corrupt to some extent to say that they did want Morocco to win it. They needed Morocco to win it for some reason, whether that's financial or whatever it is. This decision cements that, and
100%.
It's a terrible decision. I don't think there's any fan of football who agrees with it. I've seen Hakimi came out and said we don't want it. The Moroccan player said no, we lost.
That's it. It is what it is.
I don't know what's going on at CAF. I hope they sort it out because I think The fans of football in Africa deserve it. The teams deserve it. Sorry, as in the players of the national team. Just everyone there deserves it because
They should revert it and fast before it gets lost.
Well, Senegal already saying we're not giving you the trophy back.
Yeah,
we're not giving you anything.
Come and take it. We're not getting it.
I don't even know. I'm worried that reverting it makes it even look even worse. So they just
It does,
won't.
but
I think it does.
If you do
but
it
it's worth
now,
it.
it's better than if you wait longer. The longer you wait, the worse it looks.
I don't know who the execs at CAF are, but I feel like they're not thinking long term at all with it.
No.
They're not thinking short term or long term. They're thinking, honestly, I'm very, very convinced there is some corruption going on. There is definitely some corruption there that has decided this AFCON, which is something that should never happen in world football. Ever. Point blank.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
No, you guys said it all. I agree.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one thing I did want to add. I do believe that CAF want Morocco to win simply because Morocco are their biggest money maker at the moment. They have the best players in the world. You have Hakimi.
Yep.
Having Hakimi as one of your top players, top player for PSG, one of the best right backs.
I'd say the best right back. in the world.
So
I would be putting him as the...
and also Morocco's what Morocco did at the last World Cup as well.
Yeah, semi-final, of course.
Bro, with the next World Cup coming up soon, they're going to be like, we want you guys to be the team to represent Africa. So if you guys are going into it as AFCON winners, then perfect. It sets us up better to then promote the continent of Africa of football to the world even better.
In doing that, they just kind of messed it up
They're
because
really
they made it worse.
horribly.
It's such a poor reflection of African football, on football in general, on Africa in general. It's honestly a poor reflection on all of it. I think it's such an unfair decision.
Yes.
It's in the law. It's black and white. It says if you walk off the field, it's a loss. Yes, the referee should have called it then, but he didn't. No. And you know what? CAF are doing what we're asking. We said we want Premier League referees to have accountability.
Yeah.
Well, CAF are doing that. They're holding the referee accountable and they're correcting their decision.
Yes.
So you know what? Morocco deserved the AFCON.
He made a point.
So, based off the Cameroon, Senegal and Morocco situation, I started to look into more questionable decisions that were made in football over the last 15, 20 years. So what we're going to do is I'm going to present the case. We're going to discuss it. Give me your opinion on whether or not you think it was an onside or offside decision. And then we'll just kind of proceed through, right? Okay. So we got 4 here. First one comes from 2009, France versus Ireland. Thierry Henry handball. France ended up scoring. Ireland appealed for a replay and FIFA said no. That goal was a deciding factor for that game, right? Do you believe that the decision should have stayed, or do you think it should have
Slight
been
context
against?
to that as well. It was a World Cup qualifier,
World Cup
I believe,
qualifier,
and Ireland
yes,
were
yes.
trying to qualify for their first World Cup in whatever. So that was a playoff.
And the question is, should it have been replayed? Or
Should it have been replayed?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because the replay was justifiable
Yeah.
in that situation.
Okay. So it's not whether the referee messed up with the handball. It's
No.
if the
It's
replay
afterwards.
should have
Yes,
happened.
because
Okay.
of the fact that there was a replay that could have been played.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I actually didn't know where that was going to go, so I'm intrigued.
All right. Well,
Do
explain
you want to
yourself.
start? Yeah. Or do you want us to start?
I can start.
Yeah, go for it.
I think there's enough time to where you can see the decision that was made, and if it was a bad decision, it was a clear decision, and a replay can be played. I don't see why replay can't be played. If it's during the tournament, then no, absolutely
'cause
not,
there's no
because
time to
we have
replay.
we have a schedule to play. But if we have time where a replay can be played and we know why it's being played, why not play it?
I see where you're coming from. My opinion is, and the reason I've gone onside here and FIFA, to me, made the right decision, is there is no instance where there's a referee decision that warrants a replay being played. I don't think there's any...
Even if it's
instance.
a bad call, I don't think
Yeah.
you replay the game.
I think-
if it's something else,
honestly, even if it's... If let's say there's match fixing, right? Like actual match fixing, I don't think a replay is warranted there. I think the result reverses automatically.
Yeah.
I think automatically you reverse that result if it was
in that
match
case,
fixing.
yeah.
But if it's just off the referee's decision, to me, no, a replay's never justifiable. It's unfortunate.
Yes.
It's obviously a wrong decision on the field by the ref, which is what we have things like VAR for now, which we have to be grateful for. I think we have to accept with its flaws. It stops us from having instances like Henry's. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, the game's done, unfortunately, and we can't do anything about it. Move on.
It's happened
That's
for
shit,
lots of different clubs. It's not like you're
Countries,
singled out.
everything. Yeah. It's a shit refereeing decision, but
Yeah.
everyone gets shit refereeing. If we looked, obviously it got all the media coverage at the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure if we looked back at Ireland's run into that game, there would have been a decision that they got their way.
Yeah.
And we can't be looking at every single decision and deciding for replay. I feel like if you put a replay there, it sets a dangerous precedent, in my opinion.
Yeah, because there's going to be plenty of replays happening.
Yeah, because then a lot more
Yeah.
cases come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair
Agreed.
enough. Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. So the second one I've got Serbia versus Albania.
Oh, I have no idea.
Very,
They
very,
walked up. Yeah.
very dangerous fixture. Most Yugoslavian teams,
Yeah.
very dangerous, right? In 2014, a political drone flew into the stadium. The match was abandoned after crowd trouble. It was a 2014 Euro qualifier, right? The drone flew into the stadium on the 41st minute.
Okay.
Um,
So that caused tension and then the fans.
No, so what caused tension is the fact that a Serbian defender, Stefan Miricic, grabbed the flag.
Right.
So obviously Albanians seeing that, grabbing the flag,
Yeah.
just having no grace for
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
causing a lot of damage.
Right.
in
And then
the
what
crowds.
minute did it get abandoned? Does it say?
Well, at the 41st
At the
minute, game
41st
stopped.
minute,
Yeah,
okay.
game
Okay.
stopped.
Okay.
Chaos started to brew. Match was abandoned at 0-0. Serbia was then awarded a 3-0 win.
Yeah.
But Serbia also got deducted 3 points for crowd trouble. So they got the win, but it was
also
basically
lost
so they basically got nothing, right?
Okay. And then
Albania
switched to
appealed.
Albania,
Albania appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, and the final ruling was that Serbia was responsible for the match abandonment due to crowd violence started because of the player taken down. The result was an overturn. Albania was awarded a 3-0 win, and Serbia's point deduction remained.
Oh. Okay.
So
Do we agree with the Court of Arbitration or do we agree with
do you agree with the Court of Arbitration?
flipping that decision to
Yes,
Albania?
yes. Because if it stayed with the Serbia 3-0 win, then it will be arguing that. But because it was then overturned,
Yeah.
do you think that should have happened?
3, 2, 1. I've gone offside.
Offside as well.
Again, different decision.
Onside.
Let one of us start this time.
Yeah, do you want to start?
Yes, please.
Sure. I think it should have just been a replay in that case. Because it's not the team's fault, it's not the players' fault. I know
Did
he's
you say there's never?
yeah, no, but that's not
It's not a referee decision.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
get it.
That's somebody flew a drone in.
Yeah.
You got to stop the game. You
Yeah.
don't know how dangerous that could
exactly.
be.
Yeah.
100%.
And
Yeah.
and then crowd violence. I understand you stop the game,
Yeah.
but that's not any of the team's fault. The players' fault. It could have been a fan, but could have been a random fan.
Yeah.
Could have
Yeah.
been neither
Yeah.
of teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's when you stop the game and say, "Hey, we'll replay it," and
Yeah.
pipe up security or something a bit more.
I have a slightly different opinion because I don't know. I just hate the idea of replays. As much as I think it is a valid solution here, I think where it went wrong first is awarding the win to Serbia in the first place from UEFA.
Yeah, that
Doesn't
was random.
really
It
make
makes
sense.
Gonna award
Because if I was a Serbian fan, I would be flying a drone in there with an Albanian flag on it.
Yeah.
Because that means I get a 3-0 win.
Yeah.
The 3-point deduction for the fans with the win, I think, is actually the most fair result there because neither team gets the points.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's essentially a null game, which I think is the fair option there because you've got crowd troubles, arguably, yes, from both. Because if the Albanian fans are reacting to the Serbian player taking it off, you've got crowd troubles from both. I think it's a nil game. Honestly, my most fair result would be give them a point each, as if it's a draw.
Yeah.
Nil
Yeah.
or draw. If the game was 0-0 anyway, if the game
agree
had
with
been 1-0 or 2-0, I think there's a different conversation there.
Yeah.
But given it was 0-0 and the game in 0-0,
Yeah, that
whatever constraints are there, because I think if you do replay the game, there's risks of those political tensions
Yeah.
coming back up again.
fair
It breeds a ground for that, and that's where I think the Court of Arbitration got it wrong. They should have just left the decision as it was with UEFA, because I think 0 points is more fair than Albania getting 4 points and getting 3 points and Serbia losing 3 points.
Yeah, that's 6 points on. No reason.
That's me. Yeah, it's a 6 point
team's
difference
not
at that
fault.
point. Yeah.
Like, I get the player pulled down the flag.
Yeah.
But was his intention to, like, disgrace the
No,
flag?
it was just
to
because
get
it
it
was
out.
just
To get
causing
the game
chaos. It was just like, bro,
yes,
let's
right.
get this game going.
Yeah.
What's your thinking?
Because I looked at it from a political standpoint.
Yeah.
Serbians, Albanians, Slovenians, they all understand the tension
Yep.
that this game causes, right?
Yep.
So every single action, you have to do it with so much intent. If you're going to pull down a flag of the opposing team, considering the rivalry of that, you can't expect the fans to be like, oh, okay, cool, we'll come back to the game. It's like, no. They want to fight. These players are not going there just to watch football. There is intention because of the political history that they have. So for him to have done, it could have been the ref. If the ref did it, or if anyone else
The
came in,
Albanian team did it.
Albanian team did it, anyone, like he could have gone to one of their players being like, hey, pull the flag down. I don't want to do it because I know what's going to happen, right? He's a grown man. He definitely understands. And considering he's probably grew up during the Yugoslavian war. So it makes a lot of sense. But
That's a fair point.
I thought it from there, but I was just like, I don't know.
It is a fair perspective, and I think that is an interesting one. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think if you look at it objectively as football,
Exactly.
it
That's
is what
why
it
I was
is
just
at the
like,
end.
it's football.
But
Politics shouldn't be involved.
I see where that perspective comes from is that whoever the centre back was that made the
Yeah, it's like
decision
something- it's
made the wrong
definitely
call.
Rakic.
Yeah, I'd say he made the wrong call as well. So he's not free from blame. Maybe ban him for a game or two.
Yeah, ban him for a game.
Give him a game.
Give him a talking to.
Yeah,
Slap
give
him
him
in
a
the
2-game
hand.
ban. Yeah.
But that's really it.
Yeah. That's been the first episode of the VAR Room. Thank you for joining. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you want to see next. We'll keep talking about the controversial topics. Bring it all to us. We will do it, and there'll be plenty more VAR checks.